And the video was about the, oh, I've disappeared. Why have I disappeared? Oh, there I am. It was about the female genitalia. It was about the clitoris and how it was shown before the end of the 90s and after the end of the 90s. It wasn't the full extent or beauty of the clitoris, wasn't really shown until that time. And I was explaining the anatomy of it, and I was also showing different things about it. And that video, it got picked up by a few different breathwork Facebook channels. And for my videos just go along quite slowly, just when, you know, lots of people watched it and lots of people were interested in it. And so quite a lot of those people are here or said they would be coming here. So we will be including more of that. Now, just to get an idea of that, wave your hands, because maybe they won't turn up. Wave your hands if you saw that video and kind of coming because of that video. 1. Just going on to the other screens. Very few people. Okay. All right. Okay. Not a lot of people came because of that in the end. All right, I'm going to go back to the first page again. So I don't feel quite so pressurized to do a lot on that now. So we will work with the clitoris as the sexual energies that rise up through the yellow circuit. Okay, I've lost one zygomatic arch, but there it is. I'm going to hold the face on because it falls off. And all of these different colors, they represent the different energies that start opening up in holographic breathing. And we were going to mainly work with the face, but because of that video and that also people were interested in the transformation of the sexual energies. We're going to be working with the pelvis as well and the energy points in the pelvis, because that produces the potency that rises up through the body and heals through all of these different circuits. I'm just going to move my table across a bit. And rather than a general thing, we're going to work with 3 separate circuits. We're going to work with a deep earth circuit. And well, first of all, I will teach everyone holographic breathing, because that is what opens up the circuits. And then we will go on to work with these different circuits, and we will get as far as we get in that. And the first one we're going to work with is the deep earth circuit, and it's got very grounded energy to it. It relates a lot to the pancreas and liver, and quite a deep, heavy, grounded energy. So we're going to start with that first, and that is much more in the face to do with the back of the jaw, and in the pelvis it's the sit bones. And then we're going to move on to the fire circuit and the organs in the pelvis that produce that potency that rises through the fire circuit are the ovaries and testes and the uterus and prostate, and that rises up and it heals the heart and different organs. And in the pelvis, that's more around the pubic arch, the actual energy points for it. And in the face, where we're going to be working with it, is the chin and here under the roof of the mouth and inside the nasal passageways. Now, I'm just going over this briefly to give you a better idea of what we're going to do. We will go into it in more detail as I come up to teaching that. In a way, I'm kind of just giving people time to arrive. And then the third circuit we will be working with is the yellow energies, and the potency that or rises from the pelvis, that moves, that rises through the body from the pelvis, is in the women, well, in both the women and men, it's the urogenital diaphragm, that's the front part of the pelvic diaphragm. And in the women, it's the clitoris, and in the men, it's the, well, in both women and men, it's the erectile tissue in the clitoris for the women and in the penis for the men. And that rises, and that's a lot to do with the stomach and the organs in that area, and also the tongue and the nose and the ethmoid, which is between the eyes. And that is where we'll be working in the face, is the nose, and whoops, it's fallen off, and the ethmoid, which is here between the eyes. I'll put it in the cranium so you can see that. There it is in the cranium between the eyes. It's back behind the nose. And the interesting thing about that circuit is we're working with the erectile tissue in the pelvis. But also there is erectile tissue in the nose and in the ethmoid that regulate our breath. It opens and closes our breath. So that circuit connects the erectile tissue in the pelvis to the erectile tissue in the face and cranium. And I'll be showing how to open that up. And I think we're just going to go into this little bit by little bit when we get to it, because the people learning holographic breathing in a lot of ways just becoming used to being able to do that will give you a huge meditative tool. And if you're new to it, some people will be able to work with the different circuits, but others they will just be getting used to the dynamics of holographic breathing. I think I've given everybody enough time to arrive now. So I will start talking about how to do. Let me just check the time. Let me just see how much time I have actually given people to get here. Yeah, they have plenty of time. All right. Okay. So holographic breathing. Holographic breathing is unlike any other breath work I've done. I taught Tai Chi and Qi Kung and different breathing meditations for a long, long time, from the 80s, 90s, and in kind of 2002 or 2003, holographic breathing just started for me. It wasn't something I was making up. I was in meditation. This energy came through, and a particular breathing dynamic started, and it just became my normal breath. And it very quickly takes people into a deep meditation, but also gives people an access to be able to travel through their body and experience their inner energies and their organs and their spine and their brain and different areas of themselves. So as a description, so I'm going to describe it first and give you some pointers on how to learn it. And then we're going to go through a system of different exercises to start it. And when it starts as exercises, and at a certain point it just becomes natural, it just falls into place, and then it's going. So the dynamics of holographic breathing: the lips are closed, well, relaxed and closed all of the time. The upper surface of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, and the breath is through the nose. The tip of the tongue will be close to or touching the front teeth, and it is the upper surface. So this is something that everyone can start with now from the beginning, before we even go into it, just to become used to that. So if you can bring the upper surface of your tongue to the roof of the mouth, and as much as feels comfortable, so it may be half an inch on the roof of the mouth, it may be a whole inch, the tongue may cover the whole roof of the mouth, whatever feels most natural and easiest. The tip of the tongue will be close to, or it's best to be close to or touching around the back of the front teeth, around that area, or at the base of the front teeth, and just relaxed in that position. If it can't get to the front teeth, that is fine. It can be back a little bit. The lips are relaxed and closed, and the breath is through the nose. Now, on top of that, in holographic breathing, with all of that in place, there's a gentle motion of the jaw. On the in-breath, the jaw is gently opening, and on the out-breath, it's closing. It's just a very small motion. It's 4 or 5 millimeters. And that creates a certain dynamic. And while the jaw is moving all of the time, the lips are closed and the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. And what happens is this gentle motion of the mouth, that once it becomes natural, once it kicks in, a bit like riding a bike, this soft movement starts moving through the whole face, through the cranium, through the body. The energy starts moving up and down the spine, connects to the earth, and it connects to the higher energies. It's not a technique. It is something that will just happen. It synchronizes with the breath, and it is being moved by the breath. And in a way, if people's jaw was just relaxed, it would do that motion with the breath anyway. So in a way, it's taking away a certain holding pattern to just allow the jaw to move in that way, and that a whole dynamic opens with that. Now, one of the comments, or what sometimes happens, is that people come to the meditation and they've got their lips closed, got their tongue on the roof of the mouth, and they come to moving their jaw and think, well, how can you move the jaw with the lips closed? Martin's described it wrongly to us, and they start opening and closing the lips and taking the tongue on, off and on, off and onto the roof of the mouth with the movement of the jaw. But I haven't described it wrong. The lips stay closed, the tongue stays on the roof of the mouth, and there's this gentle motion of the jaw, a bit like chewing. When you chew your food, you can happily do so with the lips closed. So it's easy done. And just to get that experience, especially for the new people, just have your lips closed and start moving your jaw around, just opening and closing your jaw, and notice that you can easily do that and keep the lips closed. It's not a difficult thing to have the lips closed, the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and move the jaw. So there's this very small, rhythmic, gentle motion of the jaw. Now I'm going to demonstrate it just for a few breaths so that people can see it and see that it's very subtle and soft, gentle motion. And you may not even be able to see my jaw moving. So I'll just do that for a few breaths. And there is something magical about holographic breathing. It really can transport you to a different place. It really, for me, ignites the Kundalini. So as soon as I start, I just get this energy cycling through my head, connecting to the higher self, and just in a totally natural way it engages this kind of tantric Kundalini system within ourselves. And today, by connecting to the energies of the pelvis and those different energies in the different organs, we will be working with that through the body and through the face and through the cranium. Now, before we go into that, has anybody, what we will do is we'll go through a list of exercises just to start it, but I just want to check, has anybody got a question before we go into that? Raise your hand and I'll just click between the different pages. Okay, no one's got a question. That's great. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to participants. I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, great. Now I've muted everybody and I've made it so that nobody can actually unmute themselves, because in case it happens by an accident that someone's microphone comes on halfway through the meditation, it can disturb, or somebody new arriving in the webinar, it can disturb the other people. So you can't actually turn your mic on even if you want at the minute. Do you open the jaw with the inhale or exhale? Thank you, Towson. I knew I'd forgotten something. The jaw gently opens on the in-breath, gently closes on the out-breath. So it's like with the rest of the body, as the body is opening, the jaw is opening. As the body is closing, the jaw is closing. So in-breath, the jaw gently opens. Out-breath, the jaw gently closes. All of the time, within that, the lips are closed. All of the time, the tongue is relaxed and on the roof of the mouth, and all of the time, the breath is through the nose. I'm going to take these headphones off. Am I loud enough? Wave if I'm loud enough. Okay, we will begin. So, and also this is deeply relaxing. And when you're first learning this, it's really easy to fall asleep. So I already see people lying down. To learn it, to actually learn it, be sitting up. It's best to be sitting up because it's really easy to pass out and miss the instructions. And if you miss the instructions, it won't work. If you half do holographic breathing, it doesn't work. You have to get to that point where everything is working and then suddenly it kicks in. And if you don't learn the holographic breathing, then the energies won't work. So through this introduction, it's really good to be aware, to be sitting up, and so that you are aware of all the different instructions. If you want to lie down, that is up to you. But for the new people, to just for this first bit, after that, you can do it lying down, walking, whatever. But through this initial stage, it's really good to be sitting up so you don't pass out at all, because that does happen with holographic breathing. People do fall asleep or pass out or go into a shamanistic space really easily. All right, good. So closing your eyes and gently dropping. Oh, well, for people who know holographic breathing, gently dropping into holographic breathing. For new people, just breathing gently in your own way. And we're going to connect to some resources first. So sending a smile, sending some energy to the earth, and allow the earth to say hello back. Allow yourself to receive from the earth. And notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies. And also sending a smile, sending some energy to the higher self and the beneficial energies. The beneficial energies, any channels you choose to work with, or any beneficial energies, and the higher self, and allow the beneficial energies in the higher self to say hello back. Allow yourself to receive from the higher self and the beneficial energies, and notice what that feels like through your body and your energies. And asking the higher self, the beneficial energies, and the earth to be with you through this whole webinar as your guide and as your inner resource. The lips are closed and relaxed. The tongue on the roof of the mouth and relaxed. And the breath gently through the nose and relaxed. And now, first of all, just start making small, gentle motions of the jaw, just very small, half a finger width, 4 or 5 millimeters. Just notice you can move your jaw up and down, and you can keep the lips closed. They don't have to open. So just become used to that with the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And now we're going to start aligning that with the breath as the jaw is opening. So you have the awareness on the jaw, and as it opens, you allow the breath to come in through the nose. As your jaw gently closes, you allow the breath to come out through your nose. So this is the first stage. Your jaw is opening. It kind of feels a bit like a bellows, and it will draw the breath in through your nose. And as the jaw gently closes, it allows the breath to come out through your nose. It's quite physical doing it in this way. The jaw opens, the breath comes in through the nose. The jaw closes, the breath leaves through the nose. And important to keep the lips closed and the tongue on the roof of the mouth all of the time. Just becoming used to that, relax the back of the neck, relax the back of the head, and just become used to this gentle motion of the jaw. Small, half a finger width. Now we're going to change the emphasis. This is the important part. You need to be awake for this part. Changing the emphasis. Bring the awareness to the breath arriving through your nose. As you breathe in, the jaw gently opens. As you breathe out, the jaw gently closes. Notice how everything gets softer, becomes more meditative, becomes more subtle energies. Breathing in, the jaw relaxes open. Breathing out, the jaw relaxes closed. The tongue stays on the roof of the mouth all of the time, and the lips stay closed. And over a while, this will just start to feel more and more natural. Breathing in, the jaw relaxes open. Breathing out, the jaw relaxes closed. As the teeth are coming together, they just float together, or they don't touch at all, so there's no pressure as the teeth are contacting, or you can just stop short of them contacting, so the jaw is always free and moving. Breathing in, the jaw relaxes open as part of the breath. Breathing out, the jaw relaxes closed as part of the breath. Now this will start becoming easier for people, and we'll start integrating this through your body. As your chest is opening, the jaw will gently relax open with it. As your chest is closing, the jaw will gently close with it. There's no pressure, and it just starts to become part of the breath, and you may just drift away from the jaw and not even feel the motion, even though it's still going. You just got this subtle motion in the background going on with your breath. Becoming aware of your abdomen. As the abdomen is opening, the jaw is gently opening with it. As the abdomen is closing, the jaw is closing with it. And you'll start to channel an energy. And you may not even feel it, because it's just like your higher self. It's you on a higher level. You start communicating with the subtle realms, and you start communicating with the earth. And notice in a very subtle way, as you breathe in this way, the whole face starts to articulate with the breath. All the bones are opening and closing in a very subtle way with the breath. And the cranium starts to breathe. It starts opening on the in-breath, starts closing on the out breath, and the throat and the neck and the brain. Where there didn't used to be a breath, suddenly this is breathing. The higher centers and the brain start audibly breathing. It's very gentle, very soft. Notice how you can feel it through your whole body. You can feel it in the pelvis, in your pelvic floor, opening out to the sides as you breathe in, breathing out, closing as you breathe out through all the cells of your body. They're all breathing in together, and the jaw is joining in. They're all breathing out together, and the jaw is following along. It just becomes natural, easy breath. And this diet starts from the mouth and jaw, spreads through the body. The body is breathing, and it feeds that motion back to the mouth and jaw, and the whole face and cranium start to breathe in this subtle way. And that gives you access to the higher energies of the breath and the higher subtle motions of the breath. Can heal your own brain with holographic breathing. It's totally natural. You may start feeling energies moving in your spine. You may start feel energies moving through your brain. Gently breathing with the holographic breathing. In about a minute, we're going to come back. So just making it softer, making it easier. Notice it's a bit like riding a bike. Once it starts going, it just becomes part of you and part of the breath. And when you feel ready, gently allowing yourselves to come back. Okay. Just gonna change that. So, for the new people, wave your hands if you manage that, if you got on with that, okay. Let me just go through the different pictures. Okay, brilliant. Okay, wave your hands if you didn't manage it, if you couldn't do it for some reason. Okay, I can't see any hands going of people who didn't manage it. Wait, no, now is the time if you didn't manage it. That is just marvelous. Wave your hands if you enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed it. With holographic breathing, in later webinars, I show how it integrates with the breath, and it really is part of the breath. Once you get the knack, the muscles of the breath are operating the jaw in that way. So in that way, it's not a technique. It's not something you are connecting to the breath or doing on top of the breath. The muscles of your breathing will naturally move the jaw in that way if you let them. So it's actually a let go rather than doing. And for me, it's a memory. I think we breathed in this way in the womb. And that is one of the reasons it's just so familiar when people get it the first time. So I've always known this. I've always known this from before somewhere. And I think either we just have known it before, or we breathe in that way in the womb or in early childhood. And you may notice it's very much like a subtle form of suckling. So there is obviously something natural in that movement. And if you are new to this, it's good to practice it every day. After maybe a month after this webinar, just spend a bit of, and it doesn't have to be long, 5 or 10 minutes. And then by the end of the month, you will probably just be so used to it, you can drop in and out of it without even trying. And it's not something you have to be in sitting or meditation to do. You can go for a walk and do it. You can be doing the washing up. So you can drift away from it. You can learn this and just forget about it and not do it. But if you practice it a bit every day, then it will just become more and more natural. If you have any problems going to sleep, just do holographic breathing. You'll be out cold in seconds. If you're lying down and got your eyes closed and not concentrating on anything, it just sends people in and out of sleep really, really easily. There are also, at least for me, there are, I'm taught by channels that are associated with the holographic breathing. And when I'm teaching groups, they just come through, like today, they just come through much stronger. And I see it and feel it in a much more profound way. So for me, running these webinars is magnificent because it progresses what I'm learning, and in a way it speaks to me so that I can speak it to you. And I think that is sometimes people just pass out when I'm running the meditations, and it's because it's activating people's channels, and it's also activating people's brain in a way they're not used to, a way outside of the intellect, and it's quite easy to just pass in and out of sleep then. So there is that mode. Once you've learned it, now that you've learned it, it doesn't matter if you pass in and out. I really just wanted to keep everybody awake, to get people through those exercises so that it did become natural. Now it doesn't matter, you can flow in and out, and you may start discovering your own channels that come through when you do holographic breathing. I think we'll do one meditation to just to start to get used to these different energies in the face. And then we'll have a break for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back. We'll do another longer meditation to go through lots more different energies. I did promise, or did say to the advanced people, I was going to try and show some extra points that they hadn't seen. Hopefully we will be able to get to that point in this. So wave your hands if you're ready to start this. Well, let me describe it first. Where's the head gone? There it is. We have the head minus some bits. The lower back of the face. This is the lower jaw, and towards the back of the jaw. This is to do with these deep earth energies. The lower back of the cranium, that is to do with the deep earth energies. In our pelvis, the sit bones, to do with these deep dark energies. So we're going to first connect with that, with these quite deep, and then after a while we're going to move forwards in the jaw. So we come into the front of the jaw, the front of the upper jaw, into the fire circuit. We're going to feel the difference in quality, and I'll just find the pelvis so I can show you that in the pelvis. So in the pelvis, can you see, let's take the leg out of the way. See, this is your sit bones here. And can you see how that looks a bit like a jaw? So the lower, so this is the deep dark energies, is the back of the sit bones there. And then as you come forwards into the pubic arch, this is like the chin. So that is more the fire energies. So it seems like not a lot of people came from that video, but the people, if you are interested in that, when we come into the chin, when we come into the sit bones, and in the cranium, I'm going to take the face off. Now, we're not going to go into the detail as we do in the advanced group. We're just getting a general idea. So this is the cranium. So the lower back of the cranium is this deep earth. Now, can you see behind the face, you've got this big red bone called the sphenoid. That is the fire energies. So the lower front of the cranium is the fire energies. The lower back of the cranium is the deep earth energies. So we're going to move from the back of the cranium to the lower front of the cranium there. And this is all hidden behind the face. So that's behind the face. So we're going to do a meditation incorporating that. Wave your hands if you're ready to start. Okay, everyone. All right. Dropping into holographic breathing. For the new people, notice how easy it starts. It's like riding a bike. It just integrates into the breath. The jaw gently opening on the in-breath. The jaw gently closing on the out-breath. And moving towards the back of your jaw. Now, there's not just an up-down motion. When you get more towards the back of the jaw, there's also a sideways motion. It's as if it's opening out to the sides on the in-breath, and as if it's closing immediately on the out-breath. So it's this gentle opening and closing. It is opening and closing up and down, but it is also opening and closing to the sides. And notice there's a very grounded feel. Feels different. It feels more substantial. It feels more heavy. It feels more physical as you drop to the back of your jaw. A very physical sensation, very earth, quite deep earthy quality. And at the same time, move back in your cranium. So you move to the back of your cranium. So you move to the back of the face, you move to the back of the cranium. Notice how when you're doing holographic breathing, you get the ability to travel in your body. Notice how you could do that, how you, when you're breathing with holographic breathing, you can move from your jaw, and it's as if your being floats back to the back of your head. And notice now, rather than being in the front of your body, you've dropped into the back of your body, and it's much cooler, it's much darker, there's a kind of heaviness and a depth to it. There's a real strong energy to it. And in the pelvis, it's the lower, and towards the back of the pelvis, it's the sit bones. Notice how you can feel down into your pelvis, and you can be aware of your sit bones, and they have this same quality, these same energies. Lower back of the head, lower back of the jaw, lower back of the pelvis, and the deep, rich earth energies. Relates a lot to the pancreas and liver. There's a magnetism to this energy. It really connects you to the earth. Notice this energy, you're very earthbound with it. It's very relaxing sitting into that. Sometimes people run away from the darker energies, but notice how comfortable that is, how health-giving that is, how fantastic for your constitution that is, just sitting back into these rich, deep earth energies. They're really substantial, really healing, and they're kind of supportive. They hold you. There's a strength and holding to these deep earth energies. And then slowly start moving forwards in the jaw. Until you start coming towards the chin. And as you do so, notice how your awareness has moved from the sit bones to actually more around the pubic arch. And you may feel a warmth, an orange glow moving through your body as you move into the fire circuit, and you've moved from the lower back of the head to the lower front of the head, behind the face. Notice you've moved into a different energy. You've moved into the fire circuit. And notice this may be activating your heart. You may feel your heart, may even feel a bit like you're having heart palpitations or something like that. But also feel down into your pelvis with the pubic arch. This activates the ovaries and testes. This is the sexual potency that rises as the kundalini through the fire circuit. Is the ovaries and testes. And notice as you become aware of the ovaries and testes, almost instantly an energy rises from them up through the front of your body, and you may feel it releasing into your eyes. When you become aware of the potency in these different channels, it automatically turns into a tantric kundalini, where there's a sexual impulse. The ovaries and testes release, and they release up through the fire circuit. Feels really nice, rising up through the face, and it kind of connects to the eyes. Now, if you're feeling that, great. If not, don't worry, whatever you're feeling is fine. Now we're going to move up a little bit in the fire circuit. We're going to rise up to the upper part of the front of the lower jaw. Maybe the lower part of the upper jaw. And you'll move up a little bit in the sphenoid, it's called. And notice you've moved out of the testes and ovaries. It's now will more relate to the hara, just below the navel. Notice you're feeling a different quality. And then if you rise up and become more aware of the middle of the roof of the mouth, maybe the lips and the navel, the energy changes again. This is the small intestines. You may feel the quality of the small intestines. Whatever you're feeling, that is fine. But notice you've moved away from the ovaries and testes. And the roof of the mouth is very much to do with the small intestines, and the energy point is the navel. And then rising up through the roof of the mouth into the nasal passageways. You may start feeling your heart pulsing as you come up through the roof of the mouth into the nasal passageways. You may feel your heart pulsing. You've also moved up a bit in the sphenoid. You've moved higher in the cranium behind the face. To balance the heart a bit, if you just feel the tops of the shoulders, it'll be a bit like it gives the heart a breath. And if you move up again from the nasal passageways to up into it's the front inner part of the eyes, or the front middle part of the eyes. This is the fire circuit. You move from the heart up into the thymus gland. You may feel your ovaries and testes releasing up through the thymus gland, releasing up into the eyes. And it will also, you've got the sphenoid at the back of the eyes. They make the back of the eyes from the sphenoid. So you get the fire circuit, the kundalini from the fire circuit releasing as a tantra. It feels nice, feels spiritually sexual as the ovaries and testes release, releases through the thymus gland, releases up into the eye sockets, the back and front of the eye sockets. And this, at this point, is connecting to the higher self. It's no longer just with us. It releases through the top of the head, through the eyes, up into the subtle realms. So you get your potency in your testes and ovaries able to release through the fire circuit and out through your head. Now, however you're following this is fine. If it's nothing like how I'm describing it, that is fine. Whatever you're experiencing, that is perfect for you. But remember to continue to do the holographic breathing. It's the holographic breathing that will activate these energies. And then slowly making your way down, dropping down into the nasal passageways. Noticing the energy dropping down more into the heart. And then drop down through the roof of the mouth to the underside of the roof of the mouth. Notice you drop from the heart and the chest down into the abdomen and the small intestines. If you feel the center of your roof of the mouth and the upper jaw in the middle and the lips relates to the small intestines and the navel. This will ground that heart energy. If it felt a bit overwhelming in the heart, this small intestines will receive that energy from the heart and ground it. Small intestines' relationship with the heart is very important. And then the top of the lower jaw, you drop a little bit into the hara. This is an energy center just below the navel. More physical quality. And as you drop down into the chin, at the same time you drop down into the pubic arch, and you also drop down low in the sphenoid, which is the lower front of the cranium. Notice in the jaw, you connect to the pubic arch. You become aware of the qualities of your ovaries and testes and your uterus and prostate. Notice those being activated. Notice how the ovaries and testes can also release into the uterus and prostate, and also the other way. Those energies can release back and forth, healing those organs. Notice the Kundalini for this circuit is sitting in those organs. They are deeply grounded, but also their energy fires upwards. You may feel that releasing in waves up through your body and up through your brain and through your eyes. But whatever you're feeling is fine, and it's important to very gently in the background be doing holographic breathing. It is the holographic breathing that activates this inner alchemy. And then slowly moving back in the jaw. Notice the fire going out. And suddenly everything starts getting darker. And at the same time you move out of the pubic arch into the sit bones. And in the cranium, you move from the lower front of the cranium to the lower back of the cranium, and you're back in the deep earth energies. And all of that fire can ground into this rich, potent strength, support of the deep earth, of fundamental energies. You can sit down into your sit bones. You can sit down into the back of the jaw, and you can sit down into the back of the cranium. Notice how nice that rich, deep quality is, how resourcing it is. In about a minute, we're going to come back. And when you feel ready, gently allowing yourself to come back.